Hi guys, I thought it'd be easiest just to give you a video rundown of the GreaseBoss system that Mark asked about. So these are some guys in Australia. Of course, in Australia, it's all about mining. It's a lot of mobile equipment that gets greased and some stationary equipment as well. But that's the big game in Australia. So they identified a need to help people keep track of what's going on when people are out there greasing things. So this is their system. It's built around a cloud data repository they call Grease Cloud. They've got APIs that I believe allow data to come into the cloud, so other sensors could populate alongside the information that they are measuring. It consists of three parts. There's a head unit. The head unit connects to the grease gun, the manual grease gun that they might be using. It could be assigned or should be assigned to a grease type, so a particular brand and type that the grease gun gets loaded with. And it also has a sensor then that measures the quantity or the number of pumps or whatever volume that ends up being. And so this is nothing new. They for a long time have had the kind of sensors that you can put in line into a manual grease gun. You just basically pump out of the gun into the sensor and then through the sensor into a hose or a tube that goes onto the Zerk fitting or the grease fitting. So the head unit would be assigned the grease that it's loaded with, and it then measures the number of pumps. It also allows them to compare that to what the routes say they should be adding. So maybe they should be adding 5 pumps and someone always does 3. So it can have that kind of data comparison because the design of the system or design of the PMs would be loaded into the grease cloud. So that's the head unit on the portable manual grease gun. It measures the quantity of grease being pumped in. Then you have grease tags. Grease tags appear to me to be RFID tags, and they will go over the Zerk fitting. So it'll be like a color-coded collar with a little RFID embedded in it. And that would get assigned to whatever the RFID number is, assigned in the cloud to what is the type of grease for that location. So everywhere you have a Zerk fitting, it could be 1 location, it could be 4 locations on a machine, it could be 2 on a pump and 2 on a motor. Wherever they are, they would have their own tags. The color would help them coordinate the delivery of the grease, and then the RFID tag would be assigned to a type of grease and then an amount. So maybe like this inboard motor bearing, it uses mobile Polyrex EM, and they're supposed to deliver 4 grams every time they do it. So they would be able to check against that. And then it probably has a thing where if you walk up to the wrong location with the grease gun you have, it probably gives you a beep or a warning or, tells you that's not the right grease for that application. So you have the head unit on the grease gun, you get the tags on the grease fittings. That's the manual greasing part. And then you have what they call the endpoint pieces. So you've got either like distributed grease networks where you have a large reservoir and it goes in through little delivery blocks, and it could be doing anywhere from 2 to 20, 30 different grease points. You just have another volume measuring device at each of the delivery points. So it just keeps track of the quantity of grease being delivered. Why that's good or helpful or important, sometimes those systems break down, someone forgets to fill them, and they're still going through their cycles. So they're still like registering that they're pumping, but there's no grease to pump. Or the system gets damaged and the grease starts leaking out at a fitting instead of going to the delivery point. So these will be sensors right at the delivery point confirming that the setup of the auto luber is actually delivering the quantity that's supposed to. So 2 components for the manual greasing, the head unit on the grease gun, the tags on the grease fittings, and then for automatic greasing, the endpoint quantity measurer. All that could be delivered into the cloud. The cloud could be configured so that you can tell, or it'll give you a warning or tell when someone is not following the program that's been set up. I don't see anything in the design that's actually measuring, like, is the grease actually doing its job? Is the bearing starting to fail? Has anybody put the wrong grease, previously put the wrong grease in, or is the grease dried out? All those things would be sensed some other way, including ultrasound. But that's what I'm finding with that. I hope that's helpful. Let me know if you had any more questions. Thanks.